Welcome to the Website Success Show, the podcast dedicated to helping women in business get more traffic and sales through their website with less reliance on social media and paid ads. I'm Jules White, the founder of the Website Success Hub, and I love helping local and online businesses make more money through their existing website. If you have a business you love, but you don't like the way your website performs, then this is the show for you. So hi, welcome back to the Website Success Show. So today we're diving into a website conversion rate optimization audit for Sarah Southgate. So welcome, Sarah. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, thank you, Jules. I'm really interested to see what we're going to come up with.
So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So before we start, a question that I always ask at the beginning of these episodes. So if we were to meet in 6 months' time and you were telling me the amazing things happening in your business, how would your website be helping with that?
So I think I would be getting sales without sales calls, so people just actually arriving and buying. Okay. So it would really be driving people through my funnel basically and converting them. That would be the ideal, wouldn't it be?
Absolutely, yeah, that's what we all want, definitely. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your business and how your website currently sits within your marketing activities.
So I am a naturopath and perimenopause specialist, and I help business owners in perimenopause to protect their time and their money-making ability by teaching them how to protect their brain through the food that they eat and the lifestyle that they live. So, you know, when perimenopause hits and you're used to having all of your expertise in your head and your brain presenting it without you even asking, sometimes that can stop, and it's actually terrifying. So that's what I help people with. And as far as what does my website do, well, I think it probably just sits there, actually. It doesn't feel like it's working very hard for me. It's a reference and I do get visits, but there's definitely space for improvement on my website.
Okay. Fantastic. So how are your clients finding you at the moment, and what sort of your other marketing activities where you're actually getting clients coming through?
Yeah, so they come through. So part of my funnel, I do a 5-day cortisol detox, for instance. So that's a paid program. That's a good one. That's a good way people come in. I get people through word of mouth. I get people who, so I have a 6-month group program called the Nourish Club, and people come from the cortisol detox up into the Nourish Club, or they might be on my mailing list, or I use socials. LinkedIn and Facebook is how people come to work with me.
Okay, and is that how they would find out about the cortisol, the cortisol detox?
Yeah, and networking. So yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I love a bit of networking. I think this is always the best thing, because no algorithm can take those relationships away that you build.
Absolutely.
So I think that's really important. Okay, well, I'm going to start sharing my screen so we can have a little look at your website. I normally just try and come up with 2 or 3 things that you can do that just could make a difference to, and obviously we're looking at conversion rate optimization today. So conversions is all about turning website visitors into real bookings and sales, and just getting people to actually take the action that we want them to on our website. Yeah. It's something that definitely goes hand in hand with SEO, and there will be a couple of SEO things that I will mention as well today. I had a little look at your website before we started, and there's definitely a few bits that could help. So you said you're getting some visitors to your website. Do you know if you're getting much traffic coming through your website now? So do you track it at all?
I don't track it, but it is in Kartra, so I can see how many visits I get a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. So when we're thinking about conversion rate optimization, I think one of the most important things when people first land on any page of our website, regardless of whether it's our homepage or a landing page where it's a particular product or service that we're selling, we want them ideally to know within 3 seconds what we do, how we're going to make their life better, and what they need to do to get it. And I feel like with how you just described what you do, potentially, we're looking at your homepage here, but potentially you could get some more of that information, or not necessarily more as in you need more words in this area, but it could definitely be clearer here of how you actually help people. I think sometimes we can also overthink this as well. So sometimes we need to go back to the plain way that we would explain it if we were explaining it. I always say, if you can explain it to my 81-year-old mum or my 10-year-old nephew in a way that they could understand or get the gist at least of how you help people. I think having that in your hero section, this section, when I'm talking about hero sections, it's this section above the scroll, above the fold. So the bit when somebody first comes into our site is the most valuable real estate on our websites. So with any section of our website, we just need to keep them there to either get them to take action or get them to scroll to the next section, and then the next section, and then the next section, until they've had enough information that they actually understand what we do, and then they take action, really.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think there's definitely some room for improvement here, as I say, in terms of clearly showing who it's for, what you do, and how it helps them. And I definitely think, especially with your kind of business, the how it helps them is something that could be a little bit clearer here. So just thinking about that transformed state, and I'm sure you've had many conversations with your clients and customers about how they were feeling and how they feel after working with you. And one of the things you can do, I've seen you've got lots of testimonials and reviews on your website, so definitely looking at the language that people use within those testimonials and just plucking out some of the words that could almost, without, like, because we don't want a wall of text here. We want it just to be, you know, bullet points that people can skim read almost, and just to get the gist of what we do. But actually taking that from your testimonials is one of the best ways to know what to put there, really, because it's literally it's literally that plain language that our customers have actually used to describe it. So within your, one thing I did notice about your copy on your homepage is you switch between first person and third person when you're talking. So even in this section here, it says I want you to, and then it says get Sarah's free recipes here, and that happens a few times where you switch the context throughout the page. So I would definitely think about how you can just tweak that a bit. I think for you, because it is just you and you are working with clients and they are just working with you, I would switch to having it as get my, you know, or even ideally you want it to have it in the customer's language. So get your free recipes to nourish, or something like that, or you know, if it's a freebie that they're signing up for, what's the benefit of them signing up for that, and use that in that kind of language there could be more helpful in terms of them actually seeing themselves.
So do you think I should move that freebie sign up from where it is there?
Not necessarily. So we do, within the homepage section, or the hero section rather, we do want a call to action within there. It entirely depends on what action you want them to take from your homepage.
Okay.
The homepage is one of the pages where we can kind of get away with having more than one call to action. So it might be that you have a transactional call to action there of them signing up for something. I think when I looked through your pages earlier, the signing up is booking a call with you. I think that was the sort of main thing. So whether you then have a call to action here of getting the freebie, or book a discovery call to find out about working with Sarah, you could potentially have both there. But it's thinking about what's the most important thing for people to do from this section, and also what are they ready to do, because it might be that they're not, that, I mean, either way, there's no guarantee that they do need to get the freebie before they then want to book a call with you. But ideally we want to have something there that is going to help them to get to that next step, really. And it might even be that the call to action in the hero section is learn more about how you can help them. So maybe that's what the call to action is. Learn more about my programs, or learn more about how you can take control of your health, or something like that. And it scrolls them down to this section that then talks about the different ways that they can work with you. Okay. So I would definitely think about that within that section. Thinking about the not just the transformed state, but also the problem you solve for people as well here. And sometimes just having that in there, and maybe one of the things that I'm going to point out is about SEO, and actually I'm going to talk about that now, because it's a big thing, and it could definitely make a big difference. It's a problem that if you solve it, you would massively help Google to understand more about what you do. So when I've got a little Google Chrome plugin that I use. So for anyone listening, it's AIO SEO, and it's this little blue logo here. You can go to the Google Chrome web store, download it, and it's just a free little tool that you can come to your website, fire it up, and it will tell you about some of the SEO stuff you've got going on in the back end of your website, which is often missed. I would say this must be a Kartra thing. Is your website built within Kartra?
Yes, it is, yeah.
It must be a Kartra thing, because I don't think I've ever seen a website before that doesn't have any headings and as well as page title and description missing. So it must be that Kartra either just makes it really hard for you to actually add these things in, or it's just one of those things that, you know, it just was missed. But the page title and page description is something that you have in the back end of your website builder, and it will probably say SEO settings or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with Kartra. I've used Kartra for courses and things in the past, but I'm not familiar with it as a website builder. So I'm not sure whether it allows you to set SEO settings for individual pages, which is what you ideally want. You don't want the same settings for all of the pages on your website. Your page title, when you're looking at a Google search results page, your page title is the blue link that shows up. So, you know, we get the 10 blue links within Google. Yeah. That's what that shows up there. So ideally, within your page title, it should say, depending on what you want this page to be showing up for, but even if it is like mentioning the word perimenopausal in there, mentioning the word naturopath in there, potentially that could be part of this page title. You want to keep it under 70, around 60 characters works well for this. And then the page description is the bit within Google that you see underneath that blue link. So it's the bit that then encourages somebody to come through to that page. It's quite good to write that in as if you are actually talking to the person that's reading that. So writing it as if, you know, are you experiencing blah, 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 that potentially that could be it. Essentially what this should do is give you an idea of what this page is about. Sometimes it's just a case of coming in and taking a little snippet of the page and using that and maybe tweaking it a little bit, but that can make a big difference because it's telling Google what this page is about. And then the headings, ideally we want to think of our website. I've talked about this a lot on episodes of the podcast about think of our website as if we were writing an English essay. So we want just one H1 heading on every page, and then that would be like the main title of what this page is about. And that ideally would correspond with what you've got in your hero section here. So most websites you'll see just one big sort of heading there. I think this might be an image, this thing that says take control of your health today. Yeah. It's not copy that I can scroll over like I can with this. Yeah. But that then means Google can't read that. Yeah. So Google doesn't know that you're talking about take control of your health today on your website. But ideally you would have that one H1 heading. So say if that was take control of your health today, then you would have within that H2 headings, and you would follow a natural hierarchy down the page. So you'd never have a H4 followed by a H1 followed by a H3. You know, it would naturally read down the page.
And that corresponds to the text on the page.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it and the way that you set that is within Kartra, in the website builder, there'll be something that allows you to select either heading text or paragraph text, and then you could select which heading it is. Okay. Normally, website builders, people use it to make their text bigger or smaller, but quite often, like, they kind of set us up to fail a little bit with this, really. Yeah. But that is something that if you went through and did that on your website, it would immediately help Google to understand what you do. I had a quick look in my SEO tool, and it looks like the only things that Google is associating with your website is your name and naturopath menopause, where you're appearing in around position 56 for this. So there's not much that Google is understanding about your website, and that's the reason why, because of that structure being in there. Really. How long have you had your website for?
It's probably about 3 years now.
Yeah, so we would expect a lot Google to understand about that.
Yeah, and for anyone watching, I didn't know what I didn't know when I had it done. I used to be on the first page of Google with my old website, and I was recommended someone to do it for me. And now I know what I didn't know.
I've talked about this a lot as well. I've had such a common situation that people are in, where you kind of feel like, oh, I need a new website, and so then somebody does that for you, and you then lose everything. And it's so frustrating. It's one of the things that I'm on a mission to actually help people, like especially women, to not make bad website decisions where they just don't even know what they're signing up to, really. Absolutely. But you are certainly by no means alone with that situation. So, and also, you've had this website built and it hasn't got even, this is basic. This is not SEO, this isn't SEO, this is basic stuff for a website being built. That actually it should be mobile responsive, should have at least some page structure. Like quite often I'll see websites where there's like 10 H1 headings and then there's and then it's like H4, H5, but at least there's something there that Google can read, and Google can read the copy on your page. It can read the rest of the paragraph sections on your page. But yeah, at least there's something there that gives Google an idea of what you do.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating when you pay someone else to do this for you and you end up in this situation. So, but you don't, as you say, you don't know what you don't know. And at least now you know, then you can, hopefully start thinking about how you can fix this, really.
So, well, here's a question then. With my old website was a Wix website. Mm-hmm. I still pay for it because Kartra also doesn't provide a blog, so I still pay for that. Can I go back to that? Will I still be able to find the backlinks and all the rest of it?
Is the website still there in your Wix account?
I think so. It's just
potentially you could then. Yeah, you potentially could. Yeah. So what happened with the blog then? The blog's not live anymore, is it?
Kartra doesn't provide a blog, so when you look at my menu across the top, the blog takes you to a Wix website.
Ah, okay.
And this website was excellent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, because you've got that there. Yeah. So, potentially you could. I certainly would be thinking about that. Whether you then go back to the Wix website. If it's still there and it still exists in your Wix account, potentially you could do that. Certainly, as you are right now, you're not losing anything on your SEO because you've not, there's no traffic coming through to your website.
Yeah.
Whether you would gain that traffic back from what's there on your website, because obviously now Google has understood that all of those links that used to go to all of these blogs are broken and have been broken for 3 years or whatever. So, but you would be in a better situation. So if we have a look at one of these blog pages, then we'll have a look. And so you've got at least a page title and so this is what I normally see where you've got like a H6, but you've got some things in there at least. So, so potentially that could be a way to make it a bit easier in terms of getting some of that traffic back on your website. But I never say make a snap decision about websites, really. So it would depend on what information you had on your old website. But if this one's not doing much for you right now, then potentially it might be the time to sort of think about bringing it back.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, and then what you could do is use Kartra for your checkout pages and the funnels and everything. So you could certainly have it where all of your sales pages and everything are built within Wix. So you get all of that SEO, all of the language that you're talking about when you're on those sales pages, then is related to your main domain. And then literally at the point where they click checkout, then you take them over to your Kartra page for them just to have the checkout page.
Okay, that would be a very expensive use of Kartra, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, yes. Well, I don't know, because it depends what you use Kartra for. But ideally, Kartra is not great in terms of a website builder, so I wouldn't be thinking that this is a good use of your budget in terms of
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, at least you know. At least you know now what you didn't know before, really. Yeah. One thing I would say, because we were trying to think about conversion optimization, is one very good conversion thing that a lot of people don't have, especially in their homepage, is like the 3 steps to working with you. And that's something that can be quite simply added. So even if you have 10 steps to them working with you, think about if you can condense it down, ideally to 3 or 4 steps. And the first step is that easy first step that they need to take. So whether that is fill in this simple form, take 2 minutes to fill in this form and think about how you can explain it as a benefit to them. Or make it easy for them, basically. This is the first thing they need to do. Step 2 is working with you. So you don't need to go into the full details of that, but maybe like, I'll support you throughout your journey, that kind of language. And then step 3 is them in their transformed state. So it's them getting to that point where they're living their best life, they're enjoying it, they're transformed, basically. They've got the result that they want. But having something like that on there can really help with conversions. And then you could have, you could have something like, you could have a heading. That's quite a good place to have a heading of 3 steps to your, I'm just trying to think, your, let's have a look. 3 steps to
transformation, something like that.
Yeah. So 3 steps to natural well-being, or something like along, something better than that, basically, but something there. And then, so then you have the 3 steps. Maybe you'd have a little icon for each, or an image for each. Icons work quite well, and it visually then shows what they're doing. Yeah. And then underneath that, you just have a paragraph that says that's how easy it is to, and then get under the result that they're wanting to get to. And then they've got the calls to action of like if the first step is book a call, then you could have a call to action there. So, but that's something that a lot of people don't have in their homepage, or sales pages even as well. You could have a specific one for each sales page. Even on your about page, you can have it on there. But it's something that just helps people to actually to convert and take that action that you want them to.
Okay.
And then just one other thing as well. Testimonials are one of our most valuable assets on our website, but I feel like you could use yours a lot better. So I will often say to people, rather than having big testimonials, no one is ever going to read this. People have just such short attention spans. No one will ever go through and read all of this. But what you can do is look at those the words that people are using that really relate to the results that you're giving people. So, thank you, Sarah, for giving me my life back. That on its own would be so much more powerful than this whole testimonial that nobody reads. And what you can do is use this one testimonial, especially if you've got a long one like this, use it in different places throughout your website. So ideally, wherever we've got a call to action on our website, we should have a little snippet of a testimonial there somewhere, where it's, if I go to my website, and go to my page for my membership, you'll see in the hero section right at the top of the page, I've had 5 inquiries from searches and 2 converted to clients. That's within the last month. So it's literally just a little snippet like this. I've got the whole review there from Chris somewhere lower down the page, maybe even on another page of my website. But just having something like that there immediately helps people to take action. It's just adding a trust signal as people are ready to actually click that button. Then you could definitely make more of your testimonials from doing that. And then if you want to have a testimonials page, then you can, but I definitely think of them as scattered throughout your website, that it's just all reinforcing those trust signals, really. Definitely. You could as well, while we're talking about trust signals, just as one other point, is with these logos that you've got here, if you actually link to those websites, that helps to increase the authority of these logos being here, actually, because you're showing that you're linking out to those places where you are actually part of, or and you could even maybe have a little heading here that explains those logos there, so somebody immediately organizations I'm a member of, or I'm not quite sure what I'm like looking at them, I'm not quite sure that's what they are, but professional bodies that I'm part of, or something like that. And ideally, if it's a directory or something like that, and they're linking back to your website, then all the better, because then it increases the trust signals both ways. But even just doing that, just linking to the actual website you're talking about there, can really help with the trust signals as well.
Great.
So how do you feel?
There's some really useful stuff in there, and I have recently discovered that the SEO isn't there. And I'm like, do I just need to get my website redone again? The first thing I want to know is, can I get back the good stuff from my old website and utilize that, and then transfer the stuff over?
So I would say if that website still exists within Wix, then you could certainly think about that as an option in terms of actually having, getting that back, transferring the domain over, and then resubmitting that to Google. Have you got Google Search Console or Google Analytics set up at all?
Google Analytics I have.
So Google Analytics tends to be more, that tells you how people have come through to your website, whether they've come through social or organic or email marketing, those kind of things, and also what they've done, like which pages they've sort of dwelled on when they've been on your website. Google Search Console is actually the more valuable when you're trying to work out what Google understands about your website or not. So it's the one that you can submit your site to Google, you can submit your sitemap, and then that helps Google then to understand the structure of your website. Not the actual pages, obviously, at the moment, if you haven't got the headings there. But that's the one that's often more helpful, because if you'd have had that, you maybe would have realised that you weren't showing up for anything that you should have been, and then you would have realised there was a problem with it. It's another thing that ideally web developers should at least mention, that you know, that Google Search Console is a helpful tool for website owners to have, really. But it's not a given, and unfortunately it's one of those things. But yeah, that's what you could potentially do. If that website is still there in Wix, then at least you've still got the language there, you've still got something that wouldn't take you too long to be able to then transfer that over. And then you're not starting from a blank page. I mean, you're not starting from a blank page because you've got some words on the page, but in terms of actually the structure and everything, you pretty much are starting from a blank page.
Okay.
Which is very annoying, but at least if you know about it, then it's a problem you can solve. I would definitely advise caution in terms of thinking about just getting somebody to go and do your site for you, because if you don't, this is how you end up in these sort of situations. If you don't know what they need to be doing in terms of SEO, even if you decide, okay, I do want someone else to go and do the implementation, as the business owner, really, you need to be doing the strategy part of it. So you need to be working out what you want to be showing up for, whether you then need to get a copywriter to write some copy for your website or you do it yourself. Either way, the strategy part is one of those things that as a business owner we need to sort of focus on, really. And actually, for anyone listening, if you go back to episode 108 of the podcast, I talk about the 3 brain modes of why we often end up doing all of these things together. And that's how it can make our websites feel really overwhelming, because we're trying to create the strategy and write the copy and build it in our website builder all at once. And our brain just gets overwhelmed with all of that, really, understandably. So, as a business owner, if you're just paying someone to do this, and same with just paying someone to do SEO, I talk to so many people who've been paying SEO agencies, been paying them for however long, they're not really getting the results that they want, and they're no further forward in understanding why they're not getting the results as well. So I always just think having a bit of basic understanding about that can make a big difference, really, before you start going and spending money on it. So but if you're familiar with your Wix website and you're happy making changes to it yourself, you'll probably be in a better situation.
Well, I know how to make changes to it. It's just I'm wondering whether I can upload it as almost like a silent page. Do you know what I mean? To see if we can get those backlinks.
So you won't get that. I mean, you won't get that without it being live, and it's got to be live on your domain. Otherwise, you won't be building that back up again. So basically, for you to get your old website back, you've got this website's got to go. So
they can't be combined.
They can't be combined. No, they can't. No. So it would have to be a decision to transfer it over to the old one. But if it's there, if it's in your Wix website or Wix account rather, then potentially that could be a better move than trying to cobble Kartra together. If Kartra isn't naturally set up to do anything like that, I've literally never seen anything like that before.
Really?
A website with no headings.
You know how many recommendations this woman had? Literally, it's just insane. Anyway, there is no point dwelling on that. Decide and move on. Basically,
take action. Absolutely, you could. This is where you can, take action and start getting some clients coming through and getting them taking action. So because we can focus on conversions, and you can send people through to your website, but if you're invisible to Google, then you're missing out on a massive opportunity. I saw you've got a Google business profile as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I have.
So that's another opportunity where if you can then make the words on your website tie into what's on your Google business profile, then Google understands you are a real business and that you help people in these ways, really, as well.
Okay. Lovely. Thank you so much.
So before we finish, I would love you to give yourself another little shout out. Just let us know specifically where we can find you and how you help people.
Thank you. So I'm Sarah Southgate. I'm a naturopath and perimenopause specialist. You can find me on LinkedIn, on Facebook under Sarah Southgate Naturopath, and you can go to my website, sarahsouthgate.com.
Brilliant. I'm glad you mentioned your website at the end there as well. And if this episode has made you think about how well your website is set up for traffic and conversions, or if you're just not sure and you'd like to get some help getting this sorted, book a free website potential discovery call. We can have a chat about what's happening with your website right now, where you'd like to be, and if any of my courses or programs can help you, then I'll recommend those to you as well. So visit the website successhub.com and have a little look on there and book a discovery call. So thanks for listening. Thank you so much, Sarah, for being here, and I'll see you soon. Bye. If you'd like to attract more local clients, grab my free local visibility checklist. It'll show you the simple steps you can take to show up in your area for what you do. You can download it at the website successhub.com/local. And thanks for tuning in to the Website Success Show.